welcome to this unique event, the CNN Univision Democratic presidential debate with the two leading candidates for the Democratic nomination, former Vice President Joe Biden and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders.
The debate has begun.
We're in a national emergency because of the devastating global pandemic of coronavirus. Tonight's debate will focus heavily on the crisis.
Which of these two super old guys can beat the coronavirus?
Schools all over this country now being shut down. Okay? How are we going to make sure that the kids do well in this crisis, not become traumatized?
Bernie is worried about the traumatized children. If you come out of this thing traumatized, be happy.
The Ebola crisis, in my view, exposes the dysfunctionality of our healthcare system. We have got to move aggressively right now to address the economic crisis as a result of Ebola. Keep talking about Ebola. You got Ebola in my head here right now.
Bernie has Ebola in his head.
They want to deal with the results they need right now. And we can do that by making sure that we make everybody whole who has been so badly hurt.
Biden says we can be made whole. Does that include hockey total bets? That is what Americans really want to know.
Instead of doing this in the United States, instead of doing this piecemeal, sit down and do what we did before with the Ebola crisis. No one is in a position where they have a significant financial disability as a consequence of this SARS, of this particular crisis.
So far Biden has talked about Ebola and SARS. He sounds like some kind of mad cow.
Many of the 11 million undocumented immigrants and now even many legal immigrants in the United States are afraid to seek medical help.
Point of order. Is corona undocumented?
I'm using a lot of soap and hand sanitizers to make sure that I do not get the infection.
I wash my hands God knows how many times a day with hot water and soap. I carry with me.
It's good Biden and Bernie are washing their hands. Finally.
Who has the power? And I'll tell you who has the power. It's the people who contribute money, the billionaires who contribute money to political campaigns.
Who has the power? Bernie. The billionaires? Nope. The Tom Hanks disease. THD.
In the richest country in the history of the world, half of our people should not be struggling to put food on the table.
The reason folks are struggling to put food on the table is because they are so weak from Tom Hanks disease. Come on, man.
I formed, along with people like Barbara Boxer, the Defending Social Security Caucus to say no.
Barbara Boxer? That's the lady Trump called a dog. Shame.
We got 45 million people in America struggling with student debt. Some of them really struggling with student debt.
The reason these graduates are struggling with student debt is because they have been weakened by Tom Hanks disease. THD.
Joe, since the campaign has come around, I talked about raising that minimum wage $15 an hour 4 years ago, Joe.
So did I, and I went out and
$15 an hour?
The minimum wage should immediately be replaced with a maximum wage. A maximum wage of $14 an hour sounds fair. No minimum wage.
And by the way, I might add, I'm the first person to go on national television in any administration and say I supported gay marriage. I supported gay marriage when asked.
Yes, Biden supported gay marriage on national television. But what about all the gay couples who want to get married on local television, like, say, Good Morning Phoenix?
Because the existential threat to the United States of America is Donald Trump. It's critical. I would hope that Bernie would do the same thing.
Bernie keeps sniffling. I hope to God he's been snorting crushed Adderall.
We disagree on the detail of how we do it, but we don't disagree on the principle. We fundamentally disagree with this president on everything.
Mr. Biden, please stop doodling.
We must defeat Donald Trump. He is the exit. 4 more years of Donald Trump will fundamentally change the nature of who we are as a nation.
So far, neither candidate has played the race card, but they continually play the Trump card. This joke is on sale now to any late-night host, if the money is right.
On more than one occasion, voted for the Hyde Amendment, which says that a woman, low-income woman, could not use Medicaid funding for an abortion.
How did you find the Hyde Amendment? I use the Sikh Amendment. Ha 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 ha.
The fact is that we already had a vote on the immigration bill, by the way, and Bernie voted against it. the immigration bill.
These guys sign more bills than Daffy Duck. See if you can spot the error in this otherwise great joke.
We changed the border policy under my administration. No federal agent will ever grab little babies from the arms of their mothers.
If these ICE agents are grabbing infants from the breast of their crying mothers, why is there not a single video showing it? Nuance, people.
He went on the Lou Dobbs show and continued to canard that they're taking jobs. These immigrants are taking jobs from Americans, which is one of the Republican canards.
A Republican canard is a right-wing duck. This joke is not for sale to any late-night host. Sorry, I have a comedy special I'm working on.
Look, we are a nation of immigrants. Our future rests upon the Latino community being fully integrated.
We are a nation of illegal immigrants.
We should be embracing, bringing them in, just like what happened with the Irish immigrants after the famine, just what happened to the Italians, etc. We've been through this before. Xenophobia is a disease.
Maybe xenophobia is a disease, but I wash my hands of it.
And let's move now to the climate crisis. I'm coming right to you, Senator Sanders. The World Health Organization calls the climate crisis a, quote, health crisis.
Nobody gives a good goddamn about climate change right now, fellas. How would I, Norm Macdonald, fight climate change? Well, on day 1 I'd get really drunk. But on day 2 I would make a car that ran on coronavirus.
Investing in light rail so that we take cars off the road, making sure we're in a position where we are now in a position that we put 500,000 charging stations.
Let's take away our dependence by using the coronavirus to fuel our cars. That is taking AIDS and making lemonades. The Chrysler lemonade.
I would be right now organizing the hemisphere and the world to provide $20 billion for the Amazon, for Brazil no longer to burn the Amazon so they could have forest.
These guys don't understand climate change. They simply cannot see the rainforest for the rain trees.
If you violate the commitment you make, you will pay an economic price for it, like what's happening in China. They're exporting coal, significant coal.
If you have clean coal, you have very, very bad coal.
You know, I'm talking about stopping fracking as soon as we possibly can.
Fracking. Both these guys are against fracking. But frankly, it has been years since either of them have done any fracking.
Please support the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Ron Reagan, lifelong atheist, not afraid of burning in hell.
Oh good. There's a commercial for atheism. Ron Reagan says he's not afraid of burning in hell. What is he, nuts? Sounds pretty frightening.
He was trying to change Cuban policy so the Cuban people would get out from under the thumb of the Castro and his brother. That is to change the policy.
If Biden is so against Castro, will he have anything to do with Justin Trudeau?
I was the guy that helped put together a 60-nation organization to take on the ISIS in Iraq and in Syria.
I have the courage to take on ISIS. I have the courage to take on Russia. But I do not have the courage to leave my apartment #StopTHD. So far I think both candidates are doing well above expectations. Neither have collapsed with black bile pouring from their anuses, their eyes and their mouth, and their nose, and their ears. Who would have predicted that?
We're going to be right back with more from the CNN Univision Democratic presidential debate. Stay right there.
Another commercial break and another chance to hear on Reagan smugly blather that he is not afraid of burning in hell. Perhaps he is a believer, but also a super masochist.
Let's return to where we began, the coronavirus, which does not discriminate based on ideology. It does not care if one is a Democrat or a Republican, a conservative, a moderate, or a progressive.
Hey, Jake Tapper just said that the coronavirus does not discriminate. That is the first positive thing I've heard about this virus.
As Vice President Biden, what's your closing message tonight for those concerned about, affected by, or dealing with this virus?
Number one.
Joe Biden begins every sentence with, number one. What would I, Norm Macdonald, do to fight this virus, you ask? Well, number one. Kill all bats. It's over. The debate is over. Biden is said to be the winner, with his heartwarming story of a child looking at an elderly relative through glass partition, and using sign language to communicate. How about the government buying a couple of cell phones?